How I felt once I noticed and realized that my nose was growing hair, obviously it was very unreal feeling. I honestly just had to laugh about it. It was my very first thing that I posted about, but it was definitely embarrassing at the beginning. My first surgery was in September 2022. My second surgery happened in October of 2022. And my third surgery happened in November of 2022. First three surgeries were very important for the reconstruction. So all in total, I have had 6 surgeries. I've had 1 on my right arm and 5 on my reconstruction on my nose. Those surgeries were primarily to fix the structure of my nose, and it is now a lot of cosmetic, trying to fix and make it look the way that it used to. This did actually affect my day-to-day life. I do have breathing issues now because the anatomy of my nose is just different. I do have a severe postnasal drip, and so I do have to do sinus rinse. I have to use allergy medication to help fix the mucus and stuff, and I also have to do sinus sprays to be able to breathe, and I do those every day. I was leaving the house, and that is when the dog started to attack me. How I felt during was a super high adrenaline rush, so I didn't feel a lot of pain. After the ambulance ride and getting to the hospital is when I felt the most amount of pain. My first surgery was actually on my arm. My second surgery was for the forehead flap, and I think that is probably the most pain that I will ever endure. Coming home was actually really hard. I didn't necessarily want to. At first I was very super embarrassed. I didn't want to go outside. I didn't want people to look at me. It did severely impact my confidence and even how I looked at myself. My first surgery consisted of a forehead flap, and that is where they take the skin from your forehead and your scalp, and while it's still connected to you around the eyebrow area, they pull it down and they connect it to your nose. For me, my forehead flap stayed there for about a month before it got removed. My nose is actually from the forehead flap, which the skin graft is from my scalp, and that is the reason why my nose now grows hair. My experience after my surgeries and after the attack, I have been treated differently. People do look at me differently. Out in public, I would get a bunch of stares. I would actually have people ask me out loud, like, oh my God, what happened? And I understand people are curious, but there is a more respectful way to go about it. Before the attack, I was a nursing assistant, and that does require a lot of physical demand and emotional demand that I was unfortunately unable to provide after the attack. So I did switch over. I am now a unit secretary at the same hospital, and that is primarily a desk job. So I am able to go back a little bit sooner after surgeries than I would be being a nursing assistant. My background knowledge on medical, I feel like, has given me pros and cons. I definitely keep up with my wound care like I should. It makes me worry less and more sometimes, if that makes sense, because I know what can potentially happen with infection and everything like that. It does put my mind at ease because I know what I'm doing, but it also makes me nervous because I know what can happen. Emotionally, it has been hard. All the surgeries have been successful thus far, but yeah, emotionally and mentally, it has been very hard. I will say that mentally, I am growing in a capacity that I didn't even think that I can grow. In that factor, I am happy, but the PTSD, depression, and anxiety, that is very hard to deal with on a day-to-day basis. I do have a whole community online, on social media, and also in person. It does help me a ton. to have the support that I do. I am and will forever be so grateful for that. And I did have depression before the attack as well. However, it has progressed more severely. My relationship with pets right now, specifically dogs, isn't the best. I would say that I do have a fear of dogs now, but I do think that fear is always good because it creates more caution. I am okay around some few select dogs that I have known for a while, but if I don't know the dog and I don't know the dog's temperament, I will not be around it. I do have 2 cats myself, and a lot of my other friends have cats as well. I have great relationships with pets still, and I do still love dogs. Personally, for me, I just can't be around them. I think my message would be to give yourself grace if you're going through a hard time. Don't beat yourself up over things you cannot control, and self-love. Self-love is the most important thing that I have learned throughout this journey, and I honestly wouldn't be here if it wasn't for self-love.